Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As promised, we're continuing to branch out into other areas. Cory and I enjoy playing video games just as much as we enjoy watching movies, so for this video we thought it'd be fun to give our thoughts and opinions on the newest installment of one of our favorite franchises, Call of Duty. Black Ops Cold War officially releases on November 13th, but we were able to play the open beta a few weekends ago. The gameplay you're seeing now is from a couple of decent games I was able to get on the last night of it. We just wanted to talk about our personal pros and cons for the game before its official release. Just remember, these are our personal opinions. Not everyone's going to feel the same way about these topics. Anyway, sorry for the long-winded intro. Let's get down to business. I'm just going to start with what I like about the game first, guys. Much better feeling than the last couple of installments in the franchise. Modern Warfare, while visually pleasing, does not feel like COD or play like it. I have seen people complaining that Cold War feels like an old Call of Duty game, and that they will be sticking with Modern Warfare for another year, but old COD is exactly what we need. Getting back to basics and not trying to overdo it is the way to go, and Cold War seems like it has the potential to pull that off. Cold War is aesthetically pleasing to me. The Black Ops story and characters have included some of my favorite Call of Duty games of all time, mainly Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. Black Ops 1 had an amazing campaign that took place in the Vietnam era. I tend to like Call of Duty titles that are set in older eras more. This game taking place during the Cold War era in the early 80s is exciting to me, especially if we get to see some of the original Black Ops characters come back. The new score streak system in Cold War is a much needed break from the usual format. Your streaks not resetting upon death makes it easier for your below average players to get them, while also having a high enough score required that the really good players can only get them a couple of times a game, and even that's kind of a stretch sometimes. The highest ones you probably won't get more than once unless it's a really long game like a domination or a hard point. It takes a lot of stress out of the game for me because now I don't have to rage when I get killed when I'm on a streak. I haven't seen an abundance of camping in Cold War thus far. Whether this is because of the map design or the faster pace of the game in general, I don't know. But either way, it's a relief to not have to worry about coming into a room, getting blown up by a claymore, and then my body shot by a guy crouching in the corner with a shotgun while he calls me trash in the game chat. Call of Duty is mainly known as being an online multiplayer game, but the campaign mode that comes with each game is a way to become invested in the characters and immersed into the world of the game. The Modern Warfare campaign was one of the best campaigns I have played in a long time. The Black Ops 1 and 2 campaigns are some of my favorite of the franchise, introducing us to iconic and memorable characters like Woods and Mason. This campaign will allow me to immerse myself into the Black Ops universe with some of those iconic characters once again, and I can't wait to dive into the story. I'm really excited that Control is back. Control is an extremely fun game mode that was introduced in Black Ops 4. It was one of the few things that the game actually did right. It's like a combination of hardpoint and search and destroy. Basically, both teams take turns attacking and defending. There are 2 zones on the map. The attacking team must capture both zones before the timer runs out in order to win the round. If you capture one zone, then another minute gets added to your round timer. Both teams only have 30 lives per round, meaning there is a limited number of respawns. This game mode forces you to make smarter plays so you don't throw away lives. The time limit can make for some amazing last-second plays. It has easily become one of my favorite game modes in the franchise's history. The Zombies mode is back. This mode began all the way back in Call of Duty World at War and has amassed a major fan base over the years. It has been a staple in Treyarch games, mainly the Black Ops series throughout the years, but it hasn't been the best in the last few installments in my opinion. I was really into the World at War Zombies mode, and the Black Ops 1 Zombies mode was very fun as well. From what I have seen so far, the mode looks like it will be a return to form for the series. And the last major thing I can think of that I like about the game so far is that this is the first time that a field of view slider has been added for console players. This allows you to increase your field of view that your screen shows, so the vision increase is helpful for seeing things that would normally be outside of your visual field. This can help a little bit in gunfights where the person normally outside of your field of view would shoot you in the side or back. Now, as for things that I don't think I'm going to like about this game, having shotguns as secondary weapons never works out well. Overpowered shotguns and shotgun spam have always been issues in COD. I would for once like a Call of Duty title that doesn't make shotguns as powerful as they have been in recent years. This is mainly due to incendiary shells that deal fire damage, meaning you could kill the person but still die due to the continued fire damage you take. I think severely limiting the effective damage range of shotguns across the board would be helpful in fixing some of the issues as well. It would still keep shotguns viable in close quarters like they should be, but as it stands now, shotguns do too much damage at range. While I am bringing it up as an issue with this COD, it has been a glaring issue in the previous 3 titles, and they are pretty guilty of it as well. This next issue that I have is a double-edged sword. Crossplay capability would be better if it was optional. While you do have the ability to turn it off completely, it would be much better if you had the option to select individual consoles you would like to enable crossplay with. Being able to exclude PC players to eliminate the possibility of running into hackers would be great for my gaming experience personally. And lastly, skill-based matchmaking is supposed to make the game more competitive and less harsh on below-average players. In theory, putting players of the same skill level in lobbies to balance the teams with an even mix of good and bad players should make for a very fair and competitive match. This usually isn't an issue when playing in a party with friends. However, when playing by myself, the teams tend to be unequal in quality. My stats are usually good enough to bring good players into the lobby, but only one of those players will get put on my team, whilst the other team gets 3 to 4 above average players. The game expects me and the other good player to hard carry the other 4 people on our team against a team of 3 to 4 sweaty gamers. At that point, the game doesn't feel fun, it feels like work. I will say as a disclaimer though, that the second weekend of the beta felt much improved in this area. The majority of the lobbies and teams were relatively evenly distributed, so I hope that can continue going forward.
And much like Connor with his pros and cons, I got my own. Some of them are very similar. In terms of what I personally liked, I think the pros that I definitely come out of it, the first one I can think of is it definitely feels like the old Call of Duty that I'm used to playing. I didn't get into like the advanced warfare, like Ghost, any of that. Black Ops 4, even a little bit of Black Ops 3 I wasn't into, just that futuristic style. Wasn't for me. When World War II came out, it kind of brought it back, but then something fell off about that one too. But with the beta, with this one, like I know you feel the same with it too, but it definitely feels like Black Ops or Black Ops 2, like the old style, and that is bringing me back into the game because I pretty much vowed that I was never going to buy Call of Duty again just because I figured they were going down the Halo direction. And I was like, that just seems... That's definitely Halo. It's not Call of Duty, so I just can't get behind it. But now it just feels like they're going back to their roots, which I'm a huge fan of that. Another thing that I'm a super fan of is the field upgrades that you get into it. I thought were fantastic. The only thing I don't like about the field upgrades is, I don't know if you feel the same too, Connor, but it feels like they are very, very, very strong, but it's like they're very easily destroyed. Yeah, you can get a shit ton of them like in one life, essentially, if you're just going off on people, such as like the like trophy systems or anything like that. They are extremely strong and very powerful, especially if you play like hardpoint or domination. It's essential. They are like they're destroyed with like a melee hit, essentially, like 2 melee hits, something like that. At least I can't, if I remember correctly, but it felt easily destroyed. But I love them. And then something you brought up that I didn't think about at first was the score streak system. I love what they're doing with it now, because now essentially it's just the where you don't reset your score streak upon death. Now it goes forward with your score streak count continuously goes forward even after you die. It's just you get bigger multipliers the more kills you get in a row, so you can get to the the higher level score streaks in the game faster if you're getting, like, say you got 10 kills in a row without dying. Obviously you're multiplying that up. You get ×2, ×3, all the way up. I think that's a little bit more balanced for people that want to hit those score streaks, but for some reason you can do fantastic and say, like in the past you had like maybe 12 kills got you the score streak you really wanted. You got to that 11, didn't get exactly what you wanted. Instead of the getting so many kills and then being like taken away from you at the very end with your score streaks, now it just feels a little bit more balanced for players that maybe don't get them very quickly. It gives you a chance to get them. It also feels better for people that are actually skilled with the game and doesn't feel like they're being robbed. And then one last pro I'll talk about is something I didn't even get to experience in the beta, but it's just my anticipation is the zombies game mode. And Connor, me and you talked about this off camera, but obviously we didn't get to play it, but I know that you felt heavily dissatisfied with the Black Ops zombie experience, like after Black Ops 2, I believe. So everything with like 3 or 4 wasn't really for you. I like 3 a little bit more. The zombies has pretty much faltered or fell off what it used to be, or like at least what it felt like. And now, at least from watching the little bit of like the little trailer it gives and the info they released about what's coming with zombies when it comes out, just it definitely feels like it's going to be more grounded, a little bit more tack oriented. So actually cooperating with people and not just worrying about doing Easter eggs, but just cooperating in terms of like survival base, kind of like multiplayer essentially. The thing I want to talk about now is the cons for the game. First and foremost, the number one con that I could think of just the moment I started playing it and found out about it was the skill-based matchmaking. I'm not a fan personally of skill-based matchmaking. And people have shit on me for that too. They're like, well, get good, kid, kind of thing. But there are those lobbies where it just feels like you're playing against the sweatiest of players. And depending on how well you do, continuously averaging out how well you do, and the skill just based around that, so the people you get are constantly around that. So if I am really good, it almost is kind of like punishing where I have to constantly get this game, even if I want to jump in for a little bit, right? If I have an hour of my day to just jump on the game, I don't want to spend that hour playing with a bunch of sweaty people. And essentially, that's how it feels going into it. I know the first weekend of the beta for like the PS4, it was hectic as shit. Another thing I just did not like was the weapon level speed, right? So I think that's one thing they definitely need to fix going into the game is how fast you level up your weapons, right? Because I don't know if you felt the exact same way as I did, but I definitely felt grinding on any gun, right? If I was take even for instance like the Krig, one of the arguably one of the better ARs in the game, you could play with that for an entire match. You could get like 15 to 20 kills, something like that, and you come out of it and you leveled up one time, right? And you leveled up one time, and then your reward for that is just another, a different type of red dot sight, essentially. And I'm like, it doesn't really feel rewarding when you play well with it, or if you want to get that weapon a little bit higher in skill. And also for me, I'm not a fan of all the attachments. So even when I did level up the weapon, it felt like a lot of the attachments were essentially repetitive. This weapon level speed is just not fast enough, and even for stuff that I'm not even wanting. So some of the stuff I wouldn't get till I'm like weapon level 15, which I'm grinding just to get to 5. That was a big no for me. Another thing was, so far I feel that the maps that we were given, some of them they were okay. Like some of them I really love Moscow. Cartel has its issues. I liked the idea of Cartel. It has its issues. Like when you're going through the actual field part of it, and you lose players, even player tags, like in the grass. So it has its issues in terms of sight. Miami, I feel, is a little too big, and a little convoluted and cluttered with shit. Overall, that entire map just kind of let me down a little bit. So like a lot of the maps so far seem okay. I actually had a little bit more fun on the bigger maps, on those different bigger game modes, kind of like gave you the Battlefield vibe, which I didn't want that because Call of Duty should be a little bit more grounded, fast-paced. I think one thing that will help them is definitely maybe remaster at least a couple maps from maybe Black Ops 1 or 2, and bring those in, because I think overall those maps, I didn't really hate any of them, honestly, and I think a remaster would definitely help. Another thing is, and I can't remember off the top of my head, like all the perks, but I do remember one thing in my head saying was the perks essentially seem pointless except for a select few, right? So if you're going into it and it feels like you absolutely should run, like, say for instance, tac mask, right? Anything other than tac mask, I can't remember what it was in that category, I could be wrong, but it felt like anything other than tac mask or a couple others, if you didn't run those and you ran something else, it's just like it seems like maybe you're just trying to try the perks out, essentially. It didn't seem like there was more versatility, and why would you choose anything but those? Especially with like the stun grenades in the game, which are fucking crazy. So if you don't run tac mask, it's just you're gonna get screwed by everybody throwing those. And then the last thing that I definitely pick out is the guns. To me are almost all essentially the same. The only thing that feels different about any of the guns would be the fire rate and the damage. It feels like the one thing I loved about Black Ops 1 was like all the guns, at least like they looked different, they felt different. Like when you had it, you're like, oh yeah, this is like, if I have a Galil, it's 10 times different than like an RPD. It feels, the weapons feel different. And this one just feels like a lot of, at least from my first impression, but it definitely feels like a lot of the guns are similar. But the only reason you would switch up and change it is because one has a different fire rate and one has a different damage output, right? Instead of like looks, I want one to like, and I know they add like customization for your weapon, but base weapons, they like Galil just has like that. It has like a place in my heart. It's like one of my favorite guns of any Call of Duty. It just has like, it has a recognizable name. It has a recognizable look to it, even without any like camos or anything to it. Galil just stood out as a top weapon. So I hope going forward that they add weapons that stand out. Just feel like they're not just adding a weapon that's just a difference to damage, especially when you have attachments in there to increase your fire rate and all that kind of stuff. It feels um, essentially pointless. So hopefully all the pros, they just amplify a little bit more going into it. And the cons, they really work on before the game comes out. I do have hope that they will.
Alright guys, that's all we have for today's video. We hope the shift in subject matter and format is a welcome change for you guys. It is for us as well. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. Turn on notifications so you don't miss future uploads. Alright guys, we'll save our progress here. Until next time, we've been Off Script, and that's game over.